Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Market Down Podcast. My name is Nick Cummings, joined this week by Danny Hernandez and James DeSanti, recapping the go-home show for AEW Dynamite before Forbidden Door. We start at the top of the card with Bryan Danielson's promo, where he announced that he is officially out for Forbidden Door and Blood and Guts. Luckily, not a long-term thing, according to him. But he did say that he found the only person he trusts to go technically one-on-one with Zack Sabre Jr. and replace him in Blood and Guts and be violent enough to do so. But as he so eloquently said, he's a prick and he's not going to tell us. And then we had Zack Sabre Jr. come out on the stage and chirp him from the end. So, James, I will go to you first. Obviously, Bryan being out's a disappointment. So your feelings on that, and then just recklessly speculate as to who we might get to replace him for these two big events.
So first and foremost, you're always supposed to send it to Danny first so I can get the links out. But
but you're the Bryan guy, so
that's fair. That's fair. I am the Bryan guy. Danny hates him. But first and foremost, I'm happy to hear that Bryan is okay. He's just not medically cleared for these next couple of weeks. Whenever we hear a Bryan Danielson health scare, I'm still recovering from his first retirement. I'm still recovering from when he gave up the Intercontinental title before the retirement. So I'm glad to know we'll get more Bryan soon. He just probably needs to heal up a little bit. Fair enough. As for who could be replacing him, there's only really one person that I think he would speak to, people that he would speak so highly of. I really want to know who you have in mind, because the one person that I can think of that he would speak so highly of is Claudio. Claudio is the only person that I think Bryan Danielson respects enough that he would say, this is who I would have replace me. This is who could go technically, and this is who could go hard. And that goes back to their days in WWE together, where Bryan was always hyping this guy up as being like essentially his equal. And that respect goes all the way back to Ring of Honor and just days on the indies together. So my heart is saying Claudio, but I don't know. I don't know who else it could be. Maybe Drew Gulak, if they could get him for the day, make it a real Forbidden Door thing. Hey, Drew trained that man, sir. He trained him.
I know, but he's getting beat up by like Charlotte and Ronda, and he can't even win the 24/7 title anymore. So.
But he makes a mean PowerPoint presentation. We got to give him that.
They don't even let him do it anymore.
Danny, who's your second guy?
Oh, Gargano.
All right, that's who I was thinking.
See, Gargano was there for me, but than years ago.
Highly about each other in interviews. It was like, oh, that's the dream match. Like, if I could wrestle someone,
gotcha.
I really got to wrestle each other. They always name each other in interviews, so that's the only. But I am leaning more towards Claudio because of. I believe they announced this later in the show when they were going over the rundown of the card. They said Zack Sabre Jr. versus the newest member of Blackpool Combat Club.
Yes, that's big. That's big. This isn't just going to be a one night. Yeah. And Regal also loves Claudio. Like kayfabe, Claudio, formerly known as Cesaro for you guys who might not know. Cesaro was William Regal's last match ever. Like he retired him.
In NXT, if I remember correctly.
Yes, sir. And Regal has since just always had the utmost respect for Claudio, Cesaro, whatever. And in character, breaking kayfabe, he's always spoken highly of him. And that's something that is very important to the Blackpool Combat Club. So I think this is a group that's going to, if it's going to evolve in a way, I think this is the only guy that really makes sense for everyone involved.
Yeah. Also, too, like, assuming Moxley does win the title after Blood and Guts, he's probably going to be a little busy defending that and being in feuds in more of a solo way than if he didn't have that title and perhaps they were going after the tag titles or what have you. So I think it would make sense to bring somebody like Claudio in to not replace Moxley, but just give you another top tier guy to have in there. So it's not just Bryan and Wheeler Yuta.
Truth be told, I'd rather see Brian and Claudio teaming than Brian and Mox. Like, there's something special about that team because of how, like, OP they are. But I think there's just so much more chemistry between Brian and Mox and Brian and Claudio than Brian and Mox.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, you're like, yeah, I don't have any qualms with that statement. That was perfectly said.
No qualms. Boom, baby.
And speaking of Moxley, he had a backstage promo right after that, hyping up pretty much everything he was doing for the next 72 hours. Or no, that's way more than that. It's only Wednesday. I have no idea what day of the week it is. I never have any idea what day of the week it is.
How do you know what that means then? How do you know?
Anyway, he cut another amazing promo on Tanahashi and fucking Jericho Appreciation Society and Archer and everybody. It was great because, I mean, when is he not perfect? So after that, we had a returning Orange Cassidy and Roppongi Vice going up against Will Ospreay and Aussie Open. Like I said, this is Orange's first match back since he fucked up his shoulder, I think it was, in the Casino Ladder match, which was a minute ago. So it was nice to see him back. Just a couple of notes from this match. We got one sequence out of Ospreay and Cassidy, and that completely sold me on the fact that they're gonna steal the show on Sunday. Whether or not they have the best match or the low-key best match, that match is gonna be so fucking good. This was also my first experience with Aussie Open, and they're good. They are hard hitting. They got some really good teamwork together. They were a joy to watch. Anyway, this match ended with an orange punch to Fletcher, and Cassidy and Roppongi Vice pick up the win. Then the rest of United Empire came out to jump the trio, but FTR came in for the save. Where's Chucky T? I need him. But this was good. We're setting up for that triple threat tag match on Sunday, and obviously Cassidy versus Ospreay there, Danny. So what'd you think of this and the build to those two matches going into Sunday?
Steal the show. It's gonna steal the year, that match. Are you kidding me? But this was great. Like you said, they only had the one sequence together. They held off the whole match. I didn't think they were gonna touch it all. And then they had that sequence, and I was like, okay, I was worth it, because that sell of the stun dog millionaire was so good.
The transition into the stun dog millionaire was so good. But you always got to give him a taste.
His body ever rotated. It was insane. But
you got to give him a taste, man. First one's always free.
Yeah. So I'm hyped for. I was obviously already hyped for the match, but that was so good. Cassidy got the win. Which is good. He's a returning star. Where's Chucky T? Well, the thing is, Trent is a terrible best friend. He is the worst friend of the best friend. So
he is a dick in real life.
He's going around partner to partner. He doesn't care. He doesn't give any fucks. Yeah.
I don't mind that he's teaming with Rocky because this is a New Japan event, but Chucky should at least be there.
Right?
Waving the flag for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's weird.
They were friends in the old BTE days. Like the three of them hung out together and fucked with people. It's not like they're all not cool with each other. Meanwhile, like Chucky's in the back cutting everybody out of the t-shirts and trying to be a spooky pervert. Like you could at least be on TV.
Oh man, yeah, it's weird. I don't have the love for Chucky T that you guys do, but I do like him, and it's weird that he's not there. But that aside, match is really fun. I really like the sandwich spot they did. What is it, Trent? Where they had Cassidy and Rocky, and they just ran into Trent with them. That was cool. I like that. But one nitpick. Bro, doing a powerbomb in the apron is not the fucking throwaway move you hit before going to commercial break. That's like a move set up the end of the match with. But other than that, match is great. I'm excited for obviously I'm more excited for the singles match than the triple threat tag match. But isn't it nice to hear FTR get enchanted for it to be the baby faces that make the save? What a world.
I've waited so long for this. Crazy. I love tag team wrestling, and my God, they embody it. And it's been such a journey from getting their asses kicked by DX in the Hammerstein Ballroom to here. Just beautiful. Chef's kiss.
Yeah, no, those guys do deserve it, man. They busted their ass, and like you said, they've embodied tag team wrestling. Because I mean, they've come all the way from us not knowing which one is which, and loudly letting them know as such, all the way to being chanted for the babyface save, which is amazing. And it happened so naturally too. It's unbelievable. It wasn't like there was a point where they like did something. They were like, "Oh, we're baby faces now." They just got over as baby faces, doing the same thing they always do, just loving tag team wrestling. They're just not cheating anymore. So it's been great. James, what'd you think of this whole segment?
I loved it. Again, Chucky T aside, I love Roppongi Vice. I'm super excited to see Cassidy back. It's been I missed him, but I don't think I realized how much I missed him until I saw him in the ring, like actually doing his stuff. Like the hands into the pocket thing, like it was just beautiful. It was amazing. And like, wow, he Orange Cassidy is just going to the same barber as Hook now, isn't he? His hair was all over the place, and it feels right for the guy. It just feels perfect. So love the segment, love the match. Osprey is just amazing. He is like, he might not know how to form a coherent sentence, but he knows how to have a good match. And I loved seeing the Great O'Khan come out, and I loved seeing Jeff Cobb come out. They, I feel Cobb is somebody they're just not utilizing enough personally. I think he's a great talent. I'm very excited for his match on Rampage, but good segment, fun match. Osprey is killing him on Sunday.
I don't know about killing him, but I think he's gonna win. We'll get all to that in our prediction show, which will come out later this week. Is Cobb in the G1 again this year?
Yes, he's in one of the 4 blocks.
Yeah, because the last time I was really hearing from him, he was doing great in last year's G1. So
yeah,
you'll get a little bit more of him there, I think.
I'm sure he's great, but he looks like someone that would just job to Hook, which most people look like someone who jobbed to Hook, but still.
That's fair. I mean, who wouldn't? Punk jobbed to Hook. So it's, non-canon, I guess, but it happened. But regardless, we've seen Jeff Cobb actually wrestle in AEW before. Jericho brought him in as a heater for the Inner Circle way back when Jericho was feuding with Moxley for the AEW World Title.
That's how I know him.
Yeah, this isn't the first. What happened?
That's why I don't take him seriously.
He is a great talent. He's a good gaijin for New Japan, but right now he's exactly in the role he should be in.
Yeah. Fair enough. All right. After that, we had a quick Jay Lethal, Sanjay Dutt, and Satnam Singh backstage promo where Lethal basically gave an ultimatum to Samoa Joe that he either needs to fight Lethal for the Ring of Honor television title or vacate it. And then after that, we had the Christian Cage in-ring interview after his actions last week where he betrayed Jungle Boy and hit him with a concerto. So he said that all of this and all the anger dated back to when Jungle Boy eliminated him from the Casino Battle Royal. And he basically just wrote out Jungle Boy's fame and fortune trying to recoup all of the money and all of the losses that he incurred after being eliminated and not being able to go for the title. So eventually they get around to Christian cursing out his mother and his Jungle Boy's mother and sister after his attack last week. And he started saying that Jungle Boy looked at him as a father figure and as a father, and that his mother did the same thing. And that's because Jungle Boy doesn't have a father anymore. And for those of you who don't know, Jungle Boy's father was the actor Luke Perry, who unfortunately passed a few years back. But then Christian goes, I am not Jungle Boy's father because Jungle Boy's father is dead and that he would be disappointed in Jungle Boy. So, yeah, that was a rough line. So after that, Luchasaurus comes down and starts to choke Christian out. But Christian starts saying that they need to talk in private. Like, we don't want to do this here. And then he says, remember what happened to Marco? And Luchasaurus kind of stops. And then he was like, Luchasaurus, you're like a son to me. Like, let's talk about this in the back. So Luchasaurus calms down. They walk out together, and Christian flashes a very sinister smile as they leave. So, James, since you had the most vocal of the reactions to my rundown there, I thought this was a good promo. They really, really, obviously talking about Jungle Boy's father is going there. So I thought this was good. It started a little generic, but then it really picked up at the end. And now I'm intrigued by what they're going to do with Luchasaurus.
I'm going to give you the hottest take you'll ever hear in wrestling. But man, is Christian underrated or what? he constantly turns the most minuscule segment. At its core, this was just a basic I'm the bad guy now promo. We've seen it a dozen times. We've seen it 100 times, whatever. But Christian did it in a way that felt natural. Like, I loved that he talked about this stemming all the way back from being eliminated from the Battle Royal, because holy shit, does that make sense? It's not like all of a sudden he realized Jungle Boy's a jabroni. I don't like him. No, he's had a vendetta against him for over a year. And guess what? Christian, that guy that we called that creepy little bastard in WWE years ago, he's living up to the name. He knows it. Like, this is who Christian is and who he's always been, a conniving kind of little shithead. And I love that he said, you know what? I figured he cost me money. So guess what? I'm going to make money off Jungle Boy. But then the moment I'm not there to help him and to give him the pep talk, he loses. I don't agree with Christian's actions, but at least everything he did felt like it made sense. I love this promo. I'm into it because, quite frankly, the last few weeks with this turn, I was like, whatever, who cares? Christian turning heel, we've been there. Who cares why? Like, it doesn't make sense that he's doing it. This made sense to me. It got me invested in what we're watching, and I can't wait for what's next. I will say, I am going to really resent if they turn Luchasaurus. And not because I don't want that implosion, not that I don't think Luchasaurus could be a good heel with Christian backing him. I just don't buy it. Like, right now, I don't see that he would betray Jungle Boy because Christian said, you're like a son to me and I love you. Now, granted, I wasn't into this a couple of weeks ago, but they hooked me. Maybe they'll be able to hook me here if this is the route they go down. But let's see. That said, moment of the segment was when Christian brought up Marco. I loved it. Thank you for at least acknowledging that this kid existed. Thank you. Great segment. Christian is killing it. And this better than anything Judgment Day.
The Marco reference was so quick too. If you weren't paying attention, you might have missed it. I like your point about Christian being able to take the smallest things and make them work, because every time I think of him, I think of right before Rock Hogan at was that X8, WrestleMania X8. I think Christian wins the hardcore title off of somebody. I forget who it is. I know it's a woman. It might have been Hardcore Holly, or not Hardcore, Molly. But yes. He's basically on a door. It's one of those like split doors where you could close the top or the bottom. And he's behind. He just throws the door into her, and you don't see his face until he pulls it back. And JR just goes, "Oh, it's that damn Christian." And I don't know why that just always sticks out to me, just him yelling that. So that's every time I think of heel Christian, I just think of him. And it's the small shit of him just doing like little dastardly things like that make me love him as a heel. I also liked in this promo, Danny, that he mentioned that he was like, "Oh, you all thought I was here to put over young talent? Like, get the fuck out of here. No, I'm here to make money. That's the whole point."
Exactly. This, as confusing and jarring as this could have seemed to certain people, I'm not going to name any names, but it pretty much all came from logical place. Even the cheap hometown heat, I'll defend that in this case. I hate when Edge does it because Edge is a spooky cult leader and it doesn't make sense for you to care about the hometown.
Not anymore.
Not anymore, but I gotta figure that was all coming from him because, Christian did the same exact thing right here. But in Christian's case, if you're a guy who spent the last, almost a full year, exactly a year, pretending to be a babyface and catering to the audience, hell yeah, I'd unload on them a bit at first too and be like, yeah, fuck you. I'm so sick of pretending I care. Like, fuck you. Fuck the Brewers, fuck you. I don't know, whatever. Like, they'll probably be in the playoffs, but it's okay. So that was fine. I actually had no problem with it in this particular case. I love the Marco reference. Like that, you weren't going to get an audible gasp out of the audience because the man's being choked while he said it. So it's hard. You're not going to, no matter what he says, you're just paying attention to the fact that a dinosaur is choking this man. You know?
A couple people give the ooh, like it was audible enough, but like not the whole crowd.
Yeah. Whereas, but if he had said it like, when he was walking down the ramp, the audience would be like, it would have, been way louder, but I like the way they did it. I like that it was out of his desperation that he pulled that out because he was desperate to get out of the chokehold. And I like that it wasn't that cut and dry where Luchasaurus just like, yeah, I don't care what you say, I'm going to beat the shit out of you. I like that he was actually like, I'm so conflicted right now. Like I spent months with you and I've built a rapport with you. And, there was a lot of unspoken stuff going on there. And that was great. And, I love that Christian never stopped talking. He barely ever took a breath in this. He kept playing off of Tony. Every time Tony said something, he instantly had a rebuttal. He kept pulling the mic up higher because Tony wasn't holding it high enough. Like he was firing on all cylinders for this. He did everything right. Everything. He played off the audience. He ad-libbed. You could tell he had a clear path he was going the whole time, but every time something came up, he mentioned it. He noticed it. He acknowledged the crowd. He played along. He got shut the fuck up chants. Bro, like are you kidding me? Also, he took a dig at MJF. Are we letting that go? Are we not going to mention that? He was like, oh, like you guys, if you're someone who's complaining about not making enough money, you want to know how it's done. He basically, without saying the exact word and saying, he was like, I'm an ex-WWE guy, and this is what you do if you want to get paid more, kids.
Oh, yeah, I think he said, have a match that people talk about for more than a week.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
So I forgot the exact wording, but it was not thinly veiled, but it was veiled. And it seemed very direct before it became very like in general, like, oh, this goes for anyone in the back, where it's like, is it anyone in the back though? Or is it just like one guy that's not even back there right now? But I thought this worked on this is the most excited I've been about Christian since he came in. And I agree with what James said. I think Christian is incredibly underrated. He's always been a good promo. And he's always been really good in the ring. It's just that we're so spoiled with in-ring work in AEW that it's like, oh, like Christian's not that good to be here. But it's like, no, dude, you know what? One of Christian's best matches was against Frankie Kazarian because he sold the fuck out of the match, which is so rare in AEW for someone to sell moves like for a long time and be gassed in a match as opposed to just constantly going forever. But I'm excited for this way more than I was. Same thing James said, like way more than I was a couple of weeks ago. Whereas I was excited, like, oh, cool, it's finally going to happen after all this time. But now it's like, I'm genuinely invested.
Hell yeah.
Fuck Jungle Boy, right? Like, what's going on here?
He's right. His dad does suck.
Yeah, what the hell, man? If he cared, he would have been there. What the hell? I could say that. Christian said it, more or less.
That is our bar now, guys. If Christian says it, we can say it.
Okay, I'll be on whatever side Luchasaurus is on. I'm taking that side.
That's a fair route to take. I will say I haven't been this invested in Christian since his feud with Kenny. I think I would say, and he beat him for the Impact title. I think that was the last time I was like actually giving a shit about Christian in AEW.
I'm way more invested in this than that. I would say last time was his feud with Randy Orton.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, one more shot feud.
Fantastic.
I will say that was actually the one aspect of this that I don't know if I was supposed to see that he's full of shit or if I just felt that he was full of shit. But Christian talked about how he could have been fast-tracked to the world title if he won that battle royal. But Christian almost, like, I can't help but, like, he won the Impact title afterwards. And I know it's not the AEW world title, but he still got the
for the AEW.
Exactly. And he did it with Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus backing him.
And he got to do it on pay-per-view as opposed to on a Dynamite.
Exactly. So I don't know if that was intentionally like, all right, Christian is delusional.
I think
it's a great play on it if it is. Like if the cracks are already showing, it's cool. But who knows? Let's see. I love it. I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Or he's just delusional and thinking, oh, if I win that, then maybe I win the title on Dynamite and then I get it earlier.
I win it faster. I get paid more sooner. Yeah.
That's probably his logic, as twisted as it may be. All right. So after this, we had Young Bucks backstage promo with Kyle O'Reilly, who announced that the Bucks will be teaming up with El Phantasmo and Hikuleo from Bullet Club against Sting and Darby Allin, and then two opponents they didn't announce until later. So we'll get into that more a bit when they announced it. And then we had Penta Obscuro versus Malachi Black for the final slot in the All-Atlantic Championship match at Forbidden Door. That would be the four-way. This was pretty cool. It wasn't exactly what I was expecting out of these two guys. I thought it could have been better, but it was still good. Penta hit an Avalanche Fear Factor, which was amazing, and they actually worked around it very nicely, I thought, because it took Penta like 5 minutes to crawl across the ring, and Malachi ended up getting his foot on the rope instead of kicking, which I thought was a nice touch. Eventually the match ended with Penta went for a Made in Japan, but his back gave out. Malachi hit the spinning back heel kick and got the win. Afterwards, Pac ran out to stare down Black, and then we had a really cool promo on the Tron from Miro. And then the fourth person from New Japan is, in fact, Ishii, if I remember correctly, James.
It is, and I called it last. I think everyone called it last week that it would be Ishii.
So Pac, Black, Miro, Ishii in that match. That's going to be a banger. But we'll start with this match. Danny, were you as underwhelmed by this as I was, or did you like it a bit more?
I was as underwhelmed as you were. It by no means was bad. It was good. It was
just fine.
Yeah, and it was at a weird point in the show where I didn't want to see it. I was like,
yeah.
I don't know exactly why, but the right person won, and I think that's the most important part.
Yes.
No offense to Penta, but Malachi needs this. I think any one of these people could win the title. I think two of them need it more or should have it more than the other two, but it was fine. I'm glad Malachi won. That's the right person to win. So
yeah, no, I agree with that too. I think it would have been awkward having two Death Triangle members in the match. I thought it would have been awkward if two House of Black members lost. Plus, I think Black's probably just a little bit higher up in the power structure than Penta, at least, especially because Penta just hasn't really been getting it done lately in the ring in terms of like wins and losses. Not obviously he's still wrestling awesome. James, what were your opinions?
I feel the same way. It's not that the match was bad. It's just I think we're all kind of fatigued at this point of seeing House of Black and Death Triangle going at it.
Yes,
I feel like Malachi has had two feuds since being in AEW, and they've just gone on forever and ever and ever. The guys were fighting an uphill battle just going into this match. I think after Sunday, I think it's probably going to be the last time for a while we see them interact. Or who knows, maybe we get another 6-man tag. I don't know. I know Buddy Matthews is supposedly hurt, so I don't know what the plans are for House of Black, but I just need something a little bit different. And again, good showing from these guys. It's just I've seen it already. I've seen it too many times. And quite frankly, I think their past interactions were better.
I did see something pretty cool on Reddit. There was somebody suggested with all of the injuries to the upper card in AEW, especially with Punk out for a while, and Bryan too. But they should elevate the House of Black and let maybe Malachi go after Moxley for a while, while he defends, assuming Moxley wins, which I think is a safe bet. Definitely minus money. But let him go after Moxley, and then you have the BCC and House of Black backing both guys up. I think that would be a lot cooler, and it's a really good time to do it with all these guys out. than them just continuing to languish in the mid card, like just doing really seemingly nothing except just being in endless feuds and like somehow picking up Julia Black after however many years. I don't even think that's her name. I'm probably wrong, but
Hart. Julia
Hart. Yeah.
Did you say Julia Black?
Yeah, I don't even know who that is. I have a long day, people. I'm sorry. But they should probably change their name to that anyway. But like, yeah, I think it would be a lot cooler if they went up and challenged Moxley than just to sit in the middle. So
if they just inexplicably started calling her Julia Black next week, I guarantee you maybe 5 people would notice.
I mean, you could go Julia Blackheart and it would work perfectly. So maybe I was just doing that in my very exhausted head.
And then she could drive a tank to the ring. It'll be great.
Oh, yeah. Or, yeah, well, somebody lost there. So there's a free tank floating around somewhere. All right. After that, we had a very quick Wardlow video package. He wants the TNT title. We know this. And then we had Hangman Adam Page versus Silas Young with Adam Cole, Bebe on commentary. So, James, before I get into this, they mentioned that Page and Young were rivals in Ring of Honor, and I was wondering if you could give us a bit of background on their rivalry there.
I do need to freshen up a little bit, but I do know that. So little background on Silas Young. His gimmick is he's the last real man in wrestling, or honestly, maybe alive. Who knows? He is kind of a bona fide prick, but he's good at what he does, and like his wrestling style doesn't really match his look, in my opinion. He does some weird flippy stuff for a guy with that kind of mustache, but I don't know why. Mustaches should be able to flip too, but it bothers me. Regardless, Hangman was a young boy, like the equivalent of a young boy in Ring of Honor. And as Hangman was coming up, Silas Young stood in his way. I know Silas was a former Ring of Honor TV champion. I don't know if they ever crossed paths going for that title, but I know that they've wrestled on several occasions, and it's just incredible to see how far Hangman has come from those Ring of Honor days. I'm always sort of reminded about the Young Bucks promo when they were feuding with Kenny and Hangman, where they say, "You were just a jobber in ROH when we plucked you out and put you in Bullet Club." And the honest to God truth is, yeah, he was. So it's so great to see that this kid who was teaching as a full-time job went from that Ring of Honor kid to former AEW world champion. And he's so far past Silas Young in that feud. Speaking to the match itself, it was good. It played the way we all kind of figured it would. Silas Young was brought in to make Hangman look good. And I think he did, because Silas is a hard hitter. When they were chopping back and forth, that was a lot of fun. And it showed how smart Hangman is in the ring. He countered a lot of Silas's stuff, especially the finish where he was doing the headstand into the moonsault, the springboard moonsault. And yeah, I enjoyed the match for what it was. I think we all care a little bit more about what happened after the match, and I'm sure we'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, fun little segment, fun little match between these two guys with Adam Cole, who, I'm just gonna say it, Adam, your body is beautiful. I don't care what the internet says. So yeah, good segment.
Yeah, that whole thing was weird. We all know he's a fat ass.
Anyway,
I have to agree with you about the match. It was hard hitting. It was good. It made Hangman look good. Hangman went with the buckshot. It was everything I was expecting it to be. Danny, I'm sure you feel the same way, because I just want to get into what happened after. So,
I mean, yeah, let's just talk about what happened after.
Okay, good. Because I was so excited for this. I've been waiting for this.
You had me drone on about the match when we I feel
you just went. I just wanted some background.
I feel dirty. But okay.
I wasn't going to interrupt you. Anyway, so after Hangman wins with the buckshot, it's about to be story time with Adam Cole, baby. And then Jay White's music hits and he interrupts. and he says that while he wants to do a favor for a friend, he can't face Adam Cole because Cole lost twice to Hangman. So then White goes down to the ring to tell Hangman that he won't be his opponent either, but Hangman ain't having none of his shit and just starts kicking the shit out of him for last week. So he goes to set up for the buckshot, and Cole comes down and low blows him because that's the only finisher Adam Cole actually knows. So White immediately starts attacking Hangman. Adam Cole grabs the title, and it looks like he's lining up Switchblade, but then Switchblade catches him, and Cole's like, no, pick Hangman up. And while that's happening, motherfucking coin drop, it's Okada. He comes in, him and Hangman clear house, and they announce later they made a 4-way match for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. I'm so fucking excited. This is all gonna fuck. Danny, speak words.
Yeah, this was all right. Downside, we're getting another Cole and Hangman match. Upside, Okada and Jay White are in it, so that's going to be exciting. I wasn't expecting him to be on the. I wasn't expecting Okada to be on the pay-per-view, so that's fucking awesome. Like, I'm not gonna.
Birth of his child, winning the IWGP title.
I mean, why are you even I don't think it's close for him, but he's dedicated his whole life to one thing, not the other, but yeah, this was cool. The crowd went fucking nuts. They got a holy shit chant. This was just great. It's a good boost to the pay-per-view that is going to be good, but it's felt like it's missing something because of all the people injured right now. So this was very, very much needed. So I'm very happy Okada's here. And look at that. We get a multi-person. Triple threats, fatal 4-ways are so good. AEW needs to do them more. I feel like there's a small group of the fandom that hates them, and I don't get why. They're so good. More of them, please. I'm excited to just have a fatal 4-way in AEW. This is great. That's not
have we ever had a fatal 4-way for the world title before? I don't think we have.
World title, no. I think we've only had the one triple threat for the world title, and that's it.
Yeah.
That has been straight singles matches.
And New Japan never does multi-man matches for their world title. It is, I think the last time it happened was, several years ago, where I think it was Kenny defending against Cody and Kota Ibushi. And that was just weird. That was weird.
I think it makes sense. So obviously more people on the card, and Danny, you're absolutely right. Like, getting Okada on this card with all these people out is huge. And before I go to you, James, on Okada in this match, I do kind of like the idea that AEW does save their multi-man matches for bigger events and bigger matches. Like, I would like to see a few more, but I think it makes them extra special that they don't have them as often as, say, WWE does. Other promotions. So I do kind of like the idea that they don't have them as often, even though when they do have them, they do bang.
I think when you have a ranking system, it does become a little bit harder to justify multi-man matches for the title. But I do think that for storyline purposes, it can sometimes make sense. It made sense in that. I don't even know if it made sense in that situation with Pac and Orange Cassidy. But I didn't care because I too love multi-man matches. I agree. Overall, they are specialty matches, so they shouldn't be the regular. But I do also agree with Danny. They should happen a little bit more often than we get them.
Yeah. And what were your thoughts on? Sorry, Dan. Do you want to respond to that?
So what, the dog barking?
No, but to what James is saying. But forget it. James, what were your thoughts though on Okada coming down for the save? And now
I loved it. I loved it. I completely agree with Danny. This show, as exciting as it is because it just exists, it felt like it was lacking in star power. And now there is not a bigger star that New Japan can offer than Okada. And not that New Japan were the side slacking in star power. AEW got hit with a lot of unfortunate injuries, but it feels like a much bigger deal now. And I will say, as great as it is to see Okada, like it was the highlight of my night, I am a little disappointed. I would have rather see, I know I was just talking about how excited I am for the multi-man match. I kind of wished that I could have gotten Okada versus Adam Cole and Hangman versus Jay White instead, but this is going to be great no matter what.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. Well, I'm good either way. I just wanted Okada. Like, I really want to see him wrestle AEW guys. I think it's going to be awesome. And I know, I think he's fought Hangman before, and I'm not sure if he's fought Cole or not, but it's all going to be exciting. Oh, he hasn't. All right, cool.
No.
This is going to be awesome. And also, I'm low-key kind of excited to see Okada playing with the Young Bucks kids again because on BT, because that's always fucking adorable.
I am just going to put this out there. I'm going to keep waving this flag. All four men in this match have history with Kenny Omega. I really, really, really finally think we're getting Kenny at the end of this match to confront whoever over whatever. I think it's finally happening.
Yeah, the broom tease on BTE this week, I think is
and the Aviators. Don't forget the Aviators.
Yes, those two. I think those are two pretty big hints that he's coming back sooner than later. And
yes,
even if he doesn't come back and immediately starts wrestling, because he still does need some more time, like just to have him back interacting with people again on screen is more than enough for me.
Absolutely.
And also too, I was reading a discussion about this on Reddit too, like a lot of, I don't want to say like a lot of the direction, but it feels like there have been some areas of AEW that have felt a little less directional, for lack of a better phrase, since Kenny has gone. I think the women's division probably felt the brunt of that because he was very involved there. But there have been other places where he was helping to book things and giving Tony Khan and the other bookers and the other wrestlers advice, where I think that's been a big loss for AEW behind the scenes, and why AEW doesn't. It's still really good, but it doesn't necessarily feel as good as it was when Kenny was there, even before he was champ, especially while he was champ and Hangman was making that chase. Like, I think his return is going to be big in more ways than just on screen. For him on screen.
I totally agree. I joked about it last week when we were talking, but I desperately need AEW to give me one of my main guys back. He who shall not be named is, getting cleaned up somewhere. Brian is injured, and Kenny has been gone for so long. I feel, not that AEW is lacking in star power, because it absolutely isn't, but these people who at least I've become so invested in over the years just haven't been around or have been dropping like flies. So Kenny coming back is going to almost feel like a return of hope for AEW for me. I've been enjoying the product without him. I really have been. But Kenny coming back is just, I think it's going to jumpstart the company going into not a different direction, but its new path, storyline wise.
Well, speaking of a different direction, who's he who shall not be named?
No.
That's out getting clean somewhere.
No.
I don't think anyone's out getting clean somewhere right now.
Moving on. Hey, Kamish, move us forward.
All right. Wow, call me Kamish on the pod. Crossover there. Hey,
we're getting ready to go into fantasy season. So,
what is this?
Some of my friends call me Kamish. That's so fitting.
Anyway, so after this, we went to Jade Cargill backstage interview with Stokely and the baddies. Unfortunately, it was only one baddie because Red Velvet is hurt. So Stokely laid out the criteria for a new baddie search, excuse me, and then Tony cut the shit. And then after that, we came back from commercial, and Tony was interviewing Athena and Chris Statlander, who were just completely taking the piss out of Jade's promo like 2 minutes before that. And I haven't seen a lot of them together because a lot of their feud is on Rampage. They have really good on-screen chemistry. I thought that was really hilarious.
It was weird how much I liked them together. It felt natural. It felt really natural.
It really did. Yeah, because it really, they've only met each other like 3 weeks ago in kayfabe, like, you know, this was really good. This is the most charisma Statlander's ever shown. She's gonna turn on, you know.
At least since she came out of the crane machine and just bopped that glass into Penelope Ford.
I know I'm gonna bring up something that Danny and I often battle with, and I have seen his ways of thinking.
Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest is scheduled for one fall.
I feel like we're actually inching a little bit closer to the women's tag team titles, because I just watching the product, it feels like AEW is pairing up a lot of women together. A lot of women, like Ring of Honor on Rampage, we're getting Ring of Honor Women's Champion Mercedes Martinez with Serena Deeb.
Yeah.
They highlighted Nyla Rose and
Shafir.
Marina Shafir. We're now getting Statlander and Athena. We've seen
and Anna Jay's been hanging out with them too.
Really?
Yeah. Well, she was in the beginning, because this all started with the whole Jade and the Baddies thing.
Yeah.
And they needed a third person, but I haven't seen Anna in a couple weeks with them.
It feels ever since the Ty Conti turn, I fuck the Dark Order stuff. I care way more about their friendship, and they've done nothing to address it, and it's bothering me. But yeah, I do feel like they're slowly inching us to becoming more accustomed to seeing women's tag stuff.
Tony and Ruby too.
Yeah.
Not to an extent as much as it was when they were doing the feud with Britt and Jamie Hayter, which is another team you can get there too, if you really want to.
Or if you wanted to throw Reba, not Rebel, or Rebel, not Reba.
Yeah, the latter. Yeah, yeah, you could. I mean, she's not the best worker but she's still good. You know, she can still be on the team, or they could freebird it or whatever. Who cares? Yeah, there have been a lot of teams. It'd be interesting to see. There are a lot of titles in AEW right now. Part of that is, you know, all the New Japan people there. They're carrying around like 8 titles apiece. And then you have all the Ring of Honor titles, which are Ring of Honor titles, which are, I don't want to say getting in the way, but they're a little superfluous until Ring of Honor figures out what they want to do. So
they just want to live, man. Yeah. They just want to be known.
No, I mean, look, I'm totally here for women's tag titles just because it gives the women more opportunity. And then until this new All Atlantic Championship belt, like they would have had the same amount of titles as the men, but I don't know. It's a little too busy right now, I would think.
I want women to have more opportunities. We all do. We don't got to go through it again.
Yeah.
All I was pointing out was it does feel like they are angling us to be more accustomed to these women tag matches, or women pairings, I should say.
Okay, but slight counterpoint. There are only 2 shows, and you can only have 1 women's match a show, so where are you going to fit a third title in there?
I'm not Tony Khan, man. They don't pay me the big bucks for those kind of decisions, that kind of thought process. I don't know what he's thinking. I'm surprised he had women featured that weren't Britt Baker tonight.
I don't even think she was on the show.
Huzzah. And I love Britt, but huzzah.
We gotta let it breathe a bit there. Speaking of which, after those 2 wonderful promos, we had Toni Storm versus Marina Shafir, who came down with Nyla Rose, as James mentioned. This match was better than Shafir's one with Thunder Rosa. Now, obviously, there was a lot of rumor and speculations involving that match, but I think with Shafir, you can still tell she's a little unsure of herself in the ring. And I think sometimes, at least to my eye, she still kind of moves like it's MMA, and she's a little slow, like waiting for people to get up, because like that's kind of how you're trained to do so. So I think that occasionally just throws the pacing of the match a little bit off, because you could see it, because even if Thunder was sandbagging her, you could clearly tell she had a better match with Tony, but there was just something slightly off still in this match. But still, I thought it was a way better showing for Shafir. This match ended though with Tony reversing a pump handle into a very nice pinning predicament to get the win. Afterwards, Nyla attacked Toni Storm. Thunder Rosa came out for the save. Tony ended up hitting Nyla with Thunder's belt. And then we had the stare down between the two as Tony handed the belt back to Thunder. So, Danny, like I said, a better match for Shafir. And I think still a pretty good build for what I think is going to be a pretty good match on Sunday.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked the subtle way they're using the title to build to the title match. I like. It sounds weird to say out loud, but I like it. I don't got much to say. Just put the title on Tony.
Absolutely,
it's Tony time. Just put it on her.
Absolutely.
She is really hot right now, like crowd wise.
Bonk.
But no, compared to, again, not to compare everything in this match to the one Shafir had with Thunder Rosa, but the crowd was much more into this match than that one. Like Toni Storm for the last few weeks has been very, very over with since she joined AEW, she's been very over with the crowd. And I like Thunder, and Thunder tends to be fairly over as well, James, but Danny might be right here. Like you might have to just strike while the iron's hot.
I am all for Tony time. I am all for a title change for multiple reasons, actually, specifically at Forbidden Door. One, New Japan and women's wrestling don't go hand in hand. So to see an amazing women's title match and a title change will generate a lot of fun, positive energy. I'm all for that. Two, Thunder Rosa is definitely going through what Jurassic Express went through, which is, wow, somehow I'm liking you less now that you're champion. I'm not saying
she's not a dinosaur, so it's hard.
Exactly.
Poor feuds and stuff. It's making it difficult to like her as champ.
Absolutely. I don't think she's going to be one of those like perennial, you're better as a chaser than you are as a champion type of people. I think she's very capable of having a good title reign. I just don't think so far this has been it. For whatever reason.
I think you're right. I don't think it's that she'll be seen as a better chaser than the champ, because I don't even think she was a good chaser. I think they just waited too long, and that's the issue. If she was a champion in full gear, I don't think we'd be complaining as much about her title reign. I think they waited way too long, and I never really wanted Britt's title reign to end, but Thunder Rosa went from being the second most over person on the show to not being on the show.
Yeah.
No, anyway, sorry, what's 3? Is there 3?
I'm sure there is, but now I don't know. And also, Tony is over. And put the title on who's over. And I know you can't do that all the time, Sometimes you do need to let the title reign play out, even if it means whoever's over isn't really getting what they deserve. But shot in the arm to that division right now. That's nothing against Thunder. Like, I think if they gave her a second title reign down the line, I'm sure it would be good. I'm sure it could be a lot better than how this reign is going. But the division needs something. And it feels like Jade Cargill is carrying the women's division right now. And that's great for Jade. Like, I'm happy for her.
She's carrying Rampage, too.
How dare you? When Ricky Starks is right there.
Well, on the women's side.
All right. But
the two
also
of them.
Hook.
Also Hook.
Yeah, Hook.
Also Hook.
It's Team Taz and the baddies. And
exactly.
They're carrying the hell out of Rampage.
But I would like to see someone be able to carry it on the other side, and I think Tony is that person. I think Thunder could be that person, but she's just not really doing it. So let's go with Tony. Let's get a babyface who the crowd is super hot on right now. See, I said it without bonking.
You have to say that though. You have to qualify it.
Yeah, just by qualifying it means bonk.
Should have had a V8, but
wow, good pull.
I'm old, man. I'm old, but I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to what's coming. Even if Tony loses, I think we're gonna have a good match. I really do think we're gonna have a good match. And good segment. Did its job kind of segment.
Yeah. I'm actually really excited for that match. And to add a fifth point to your defense, your reasoning behind a title change. If you were to do a quick title change, since they haven't really had too many of them outside of the TNT title, in AEW, doing it at a pay-per-view that happens just shortly after the last one is actually a pretty good idea, because then you're not just doing it on a Rampage a month later. You're not doing it, on a Dynamite a month and 2 months later. You're doing it on a pay-per-view, so it's still it's even a bigger deal. So I think if you do want to finally have that short world title reign on either side, especially since Danny has been pulling for it for a while, it could be now. It seems like a fairly solid opportunity to do so.
I totally agree.
All right. So after this, we had a Darby Allin and Sting backstage promo where they announced that Shingo and Hiromu, did I pronounce that correctly? Hiromu. I spelled it wrong. I can't spell. They will be joining them in their match against the Bucks and Bullet Club. So it's Bullet Club versus dudes with attitudes, as they put on the fucking on the match card for whatever reason. But that should be fun.
I am so confused. I'll be very quick, guys. I don't understand. So Hiromu and Shingo are part of a group called Los Ignorables de Japón. All right. They are led by Tetsuya Naito, and their whole thing is that they're tranquilo. You know, they do it way, way, way better than Andrade. Although he was part of the original Los Ignorables in Mexico. But regardless, I don't know how these four men have anything in common. Goth Daddy and his little boy Darby have nothing in common with this group. I don't know how we got here, other than all four men are popular. But what? It does not make sense to me, and I am so for it. I am so for it.
Where is our fearless LIJ leader?
Truth be told, we all love Naito. The man probably is in a back to tank somewhere healing. He is being held together by rubber bands, glue, and spit. And God bless him, he's still going.
Well, good for him. Well, I don't know. I honestly don't know what they have in common either. They're dudes with attitudes, and that's what we're just going to have to go with. After this, we had just a really quick Rey Fenix and Andrade video package for their match on Rampage, which honestly I'm probably going to have to check out. That sounds really good. And finally, we had the main event, Chris Jericho, who came out with Sammy and Ty, and Lance Archer against Jon Moxley and Hiroshi Tanahashi. Regal, obviously, on commentary. Now, something struck me during this match, and I found it a little weird, especially because it was the go-home show. Regal started it, and then Shivani really jumped on it. They all of a sudden just started pushing the whole AEW versus New Japan thing. Especially, I understood, like, it's kind of for this interim title, it is kind of that, but it seemingly just kind of started out of nowhere. Like, they hadn't been pushing it the last few weeks at all. Not even when it was Punk versus Tanahashi. Like, it all of a sudden became an invasion angle on the last 20 minutes of Dynamite before Forbidden Door. I didn't understand it one iota, Danny.
Yeah, it was a weird jump. I'm not against it, but like they made it seem like New Japan's this horrible place, and oh no, they can't have our title. God forbid another company have one of our titles when we have all of theirs. What a tragedy. But if that's the angle they're going with, they should have built that up more, and they should have someone unlikable from Japan, right? If you're gonna do that, I don't know, but this was all right. It was fair enough, fine enough match. I had no gripes with it. It wasn't the best go home match. The brawl was cool. It felt like generic go home stuff, not in a bad way, just not in a oh my god type of way. But that's been, besides Okada coming out and the Ospreay Dax match, that's been the entire build to Forbidden Door. It's just kind of been like, yeah, it's all fine, standard wrestling shit,
Yeah.
I'm weirdly. Oh, I'm sorry, Nick.
I was saying, just to run everything down really quick. Match ended when Moxley reversed a blackout into a paradigm shift. He tagged in Tanahashi, who had a frog splash and got the pin. They started staring each other down, and then all of a sudden, Eddie comes out of nowhere to jump Jericho. Sammy jumps in. Wheeler comes out to help. Oh, shit, Suzuki showed up. Wheeler went right after him, and shout out to Regal being like, I'm so proud of him. And then he got his ass kicked until Shooter came out, which made me very happy. And then the rest of the Jericho Appreciation Society came out, and then Santana and Ortiz came out. And while all this is going on, Moxley and Tanahashi are just staring down each other in the ring, which Moxley, I get it. But
that actually I liked. That was kind of badass. That was good.
It was really cool. I was kind of expecting Moxley to jump in because like those are his boys, but at the same time, I thought it was a lot more poignant to have them just staring each other down because even though there's all that bad blood right now, the title is the most important thing, especially to Moxley. So James, I will now go to you for your opinions.
It's all so overwhelming in like the best way possible. I do kind of want to play off of something Danny said, which I really just thought of as he said it. I kind of like the fact that they're not playing this up as like this mega build to the show, as if this is going to be the biggest show of all time. I would rather something like Forbidden Door, like the first one should be treated special, but I'd rather see something like Forbidden Door be a normal occurrence. I want to believe that this isn't the only time we're going to get Forbidden Door. I want to believe it's going to happen again next year. I want to believe it's going to, maybe not in the same capacity of a pay-per-view, but I just want to continue to see these intermingling shows to varying degrees.
So yeah, year the AEW and wrestling go head-to-head in direct competition.
Apparently, in these last 20 minutes, they really set that up.
Which again makes no sense.
See, I do like so going deep here, they really did establish how much of an insult it was when Kenny won the Impact title. When Kenny won the Impact title, it felt like this outsider has come into our home and has taken our title. And I love that aspect because if you're an Impact guy, you don't want the AEW guy to hold your belt. It doesn't matter that they're the bigger show. You want to be the champion of your company. And it's applying here with AEW and New Japan. As a fan, like our minds are blown. Like, oh my God, Tanahashi could be the interim AEW champion. Or, oh my God, Hangman or Adam Cole could be the IWGP champion. To us, that's crazy. But if I'm working for any of those companies, I don't want to see that. I don't want my life to be harder because I got to travel across the planet so I could wrestle for a belt.
Yeah, but
it's still easier than getting Roman Reigns to come to TV to defend the title, but I don't want that. So I get that aspect of it. I don't want to see disrespect being thrown at either company. Like, I don't want there to be mudslinging. And I love that aspect of Moxley and Tanahashi. I love that there is a mutual respect between these two men. But yeah, it's weird that they're going that angle, but I do kind of get it as well. And as for the match itself, I will say, I don't know if it was just me, but with all of the injuries that have been happening, I just needed it to be a nice, calm match. I didn't need this title match to be put in jeopardy because Tanahashi decides to go a little crazy hitting the high fly flow, or Moxley hits a tope suicida and bonks his head on the friggin' railing outside. I'm good that this was nice, easy, steady, and then Sunday they could go hard.
So back to the AEW versus New Japan aspect of this thing, because I understand what you're saying. And I actually agree where having the other company's guy win your title is not the best thing for your company in terms of for your wrestlers. And I guess to an extent your image that an outsider came in but then say that. I don't I just thought the way they went about it was really weird. Like, you can talk about if Tanahashi wins the interim AEW championship, the amount of chaos and disarray this could cause, if you talk about that, I don't understand. All of a sudden, just making it fucking Survivor Series just felt really weird to me. I maybe it was just the way it was presented and not necessarily what they were going for. I think maybe the thing that was most throwing me is when Shivani said invasion.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, if it was an invasion, this would be all New Japan versus AEW across the card, but it's like mixed teams and triple threats and stuff like that. It's not an invasion. You agreed to this.
Give Tony a break, though. He missed the first invasion between the Alliance and WWE 20 years ago. Like this, he's getting to live it now. So I'm going to cut him some slack. But I agree with you. I do agree with you.
Yeah, I just they're right. They're just, I think, presenting it wrong, presenting it 20 minutes until Dynamite ended was probably not your best call.
One of the big things that a lot of people have discussed is just how little time they've had to build to this pay-per-view. We're only a month out of the last AEW pay-per-view, and it's been
a month.
It's been said by a lot of people that maybe this should have been pushed back. I don't know how feasible that would be with the G1 coming for New Japan, and then the next AEW pay-per-view, which would be All Out, I believe. Right, in September.
Sure,
why not? And then we're journalists, guys. And then we have Wrestle Kingdom in January, which is their WrestleMania in Japan. So I don't know if you could have pushed this back, but the 1 month build really did hurt a lot of the appeal.
Yeah, this is the most WWE push for a pay-per-view they've had.
Yeah,
or AEW at least, because they obviously don't do pay-per-views once a month like WWE does. So you're right, they've had to squeeze a lot in less time, presumably because WWE is running 3-hour Raws and 2-hour SmackDowns, and they have a split roster.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean it's been a bit of a rushed build, but I've enjoyed it, and I'm really, really excited for this pay-per-view, Danny.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of agree with what you're saying about the 1 month build. It kind of makes me a lot less excited because I feel like I literally just watched Double or Nothing, and that might be because I did just watch it, 4 weeks ago. But it's gonna be great. I have some gripes with the card. It's just some of it feels like just a bunch of we got to get everyone on the card, so let's just pull random names out of a hat and put them on a team together to face other not a huge fan of that. I wish there was more just singles matches and stuff, but
I think it'd be like a 5-hour card, though, if we did that.
It still might be.
Everyone has to be on. Yeah, I still think it's going to be long. It's like 10 matches still.
Jesus. I'm fine with it. We've been wanting this, but I do agree.
No, the cards are too long.
For tag matches, it is. For tag matches, it's too long.
It's a lot of shit, but I'll tell you this right now. Hell in a Cell started at 8 p.m. and it ended at 11 p.m. on the fucking dot. And that is perfect. It was a perfect pay-per-view in terms of length.
Asterisk.
Always got to read the fine print. Last note for me on this show is I really, really wish Shivani yelled, "We're out of time. We have to leave" at the end because the brawl was still going on, but it seemed like a good spot to do it. I just love when he does that. It's great. Other than that, I've got nothing else unless you gentlemen have any last final notes on this go-home show of Dynamite.
It was a fun time. It was the show we needed to get to the pay-per-view, and I have high hopes for Sunday.
How high?
You want to know? You come and watch our prediction show, which will be out later this week.
Thank you. He was getting this close to making me say a certain guy's name, and I didn't do it. I didn't fall for the dark side, guys.
I got you. Jedi mind tricks over here. Anyway, thank you everybody so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. We're nearing 100 subscribers, which means James will wrap and dye his. I don't know. You dyeing your hair green, James? Or your beard green?
At this point, I might just dye the ponytail.
Interesting choice.
We'll
see.
If Jericho could go red, I could go green.
I didn't even notice he went red, but
that was it was a long time ago.
I was gonna say I completely missed that, but I am colorblind. Whatever. Anyway, be sure to check out all our social media stuff. I will get it in the description below once YouTube lets me. Otherwise, check out one of our other videos, and you can watch those and follow us along on all our platforms over there. So for James Santi, who wants to say something.
And to that one guy on Reddit who said we were 3 white guys talking about wrestling. We're just pale, god damn it.
My last name is Hernandez. What are you talking about?
Hernandez, Brazilian.
Puerto Riqueño.
And you know what I get asked every other month? Are you Muslim? Okay, we're diverse as hell. I'm not, but I get asked it all the time. So must be something.
There you go. I needed to stand up for us.
Well, thank you for that.
You're on Reddit. Your life sucks. Get the fuck out of here. Sorry, you guys.
We're advertised on like 3 pages on Reddit.
Yeah,
okay.
Well, fuck Reddit.
And on that note, for Danny Hernandez and James Asante, my name is Nick Cummings. Thank you so much for watching, and we will catch you here next time on the Mark It Down podcast. Be sure to look out for our regular show and our Forbidden Door prediction show coming out later this week.